When my sister wins, I win at the Sisters Cafe.
This episode is sponsored by the 2026 I Win Conference. Some moments can't be streamed, they must be experienced in the room.
And some moments cannot be streamed, they must be experienced in the room.
Hey ladies, we are just one day away from the 2026 Sisters Cafe I Win Conference, and I want you in the room. This is your time to grow, connect, and win.
Today is going to be a powerful conversation with none other than the amazing Lady Tammy Stewart. Mind you, she is our keynote speaker for the 2026 I Win Conference. Today, she is going to share how to birth purpose, to break strongholds, and walk boldly in your God-given authority. This episode will stir your faith and ignite your next season. Type I win in the comments if you're ready for more. Hey everybody, it's your girl Gladys B here for another segment of Sisters Cafe. Since you are on here, we're going to give you a second to get on. Tag your friends, tag your family, tag your coworkers, tag your church people, tag everybody. Just tag everybody. Use your platform and share this interview because this is not something you want to miss. I promise you. I know I say that all the time, but this one is for real. Well, they're all for real, but this one is for real, for real. Y'all share it with somebody because I promise you are going to get something out of this. I'm excited because I feel like I'm going to get something out of it. And I can't wait to get this started. So again, go over to Sisters Cafe. Take a moment. If you're watching on YouTube, you can share it off of YouTube. But if you're on Facebook, it is on Sisters Cafe. All right. So we are excited today, y'all, at the table. We are honored to sit with a powerhouse. We got Lady Tammy Stewart in the house, y'all, affectionately known as Lady T. She is a keynote speaker for the 2026 I Win Conference, y'all. It's about to be bananas in the house. If you are needing a win, if you've had those kind of years where you just feel like, look, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to break through. This is the room you want to be in. On March 27, 28, we are at the I Win Conference, and our keynote speaker is fire. And I don't mean fire as in entertainment fire. I mean fire as your soul will be blessed. Now, unless there's something seriously wrong with you, you will not leave the same way you came in. But that means you have to come in ready to accept, to hear, and to be open to what God is saying to you. She is a life coach, an author, creative, pastoral counselor, and a midwife, helping women to give birth to their divine purpose. Y'all, there's no better person to be the keynote speaker at this I Win Conference. And I'll tell you all about how that came about in a little bit, because I'm going to get her up here so we can start this conversation. But before I do, remember to share and like this post. Go over to the YouTube channel and lock Sisters Cafe in. That way you are notified every time there is a segment that comes out. Don't forget to follow me on all these social media platforms. Go over to the Daily Faith Network. Y'all, we are a whole channel over there on Daily Faith Network. You just go over there, download it on your Roku TV, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, and look for the Sisters Cafe channel because we there. Also, you can catch me every Wednesday on Power Influence Radio on powerinfluenceradio.com or on their Facebook channel. The I Win Conference is on March 27th and 28th, 2026. Y'all don't want to miss it. Go over to www.sisterscafeinc.com and you can register. You can be a volunteer, an advertiser, and sponsors. All sponsors, you still have an opportunity to be a sponsor, so that way you could grow your reach and you can be everywhere we are. So at this time, I am going to introduce to some and present to others none other than Lady Tammy Stewart.
Hi there.
Welcome to the cafe. How are you?
I am splendid. I wanted to say something else, but I'm great. I am great. How are you today?
I am good. I am good. So I'm excited to
Good.
get this interview started. So I'll tell them a little bit about how I met you, because I'm not even sure you know how I met you. But
I think I have I explained but
okay. I visited your church because a lot of my family goes to your church. And I remember being in there and I was like, wow, this is like home. And it's not too many churches that are like that, are still doing the things like we were when we were growing up. And the biggest thing I noticed is we didn't cut anything off when the Spirit started to move. It wasn't like, oh, let's hurry up. Oh, we got to get out of here. The Spirit was able to flow. And I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. And so I went home and I told my husband when we got home, I'm like, this is it. This is it. And it's a little different for me. So I've only been married now 2.5 years. So it's a little different for me to have to turn around and ask. Yeah, it's only been 2.5. My children were grown.
Conversation.
Right. I raised my children by myself, so I was so very used to making my own decisions and doing what I want when I want. So when the church said, does anybody want to be a member? I started and I thought, oh, wait, I got to ask. I can't just move like that. But I understand now why my whole family goes to your church is because that's how we were brought up. But what got my attention is when Jackie brought me up to meet you and I stuck out my hand to shake your hand, you grabbed me and you began to speak in my life. And when I was like, wow, she on point, like on point, which told me you wasn't playing God. You was with him. You were connected to God for real. It's not a show. It's not because you saw this on Facebook or my family told you. You don't know me. Like, I didn't even know we were Facebook friends till way later. But I'm like, this is amazing. And then when I brought my granddaughter, we were leaving and she kept pointing. I was like, Harmony, we got to go. And she was like, no, she kept pointing at you. I didn't know she was pointing at you. And I was like, okay, I came over there to see why it was that she didn't want to leave the church. And she walks up to you and she's showing you whatever she had. And you sat on the stairs with her and you talked to her for a few seconds. And I've never seen her do that before, ever. But she meant she wasn't leaving that church till she got to you. And that was another like, oh my God, this is God. And then I came again and you were the speaker that morning. And I was like, yeah, it was so confirmed in my spirit. And I'm like, you got something that women need. Everybody needs. And we want to say thank you for everybody who has tuned in. We got Brittany. Hey, Brittany. Thank you for being here. Chandra, thanks. Bananas and apples. Chandra, you're going to have to explain that more, please. But we're going to get these technical difficulties worked out. But what we want to talk about is the I Win conference until Pastor Stewart gets back on. We just want to talk about it. We want to talk about what to expect, what you need to, who needs to be in the room. We want to tell you one thing that the I Win conference was birthed for, and that is for people who think they are not winning. I know there's times in our lives and our walks and our spiritual time with in relationships with God where we feel like, yay, whoa, God, what's going on? Like, I feel like I'm taking a whole bunch of L's everywhere, this way, that way, this way. But this conference is going to show you how to win in every area of your life. And I mean every area. So you want to be in the room, like real talk. I'm sharing this because there were so many times in life for a long time, and I'm gonna be transparent because it's what I like to do now. But being transparent is telling you that for a long time, for a very long time, I did not think I was winning. I just felt like I was taking loss after loss after loss. And I had decided in my head, this is just the way it's going to be. But I want you to know when you come to this I Win conference, that's not the case. We are going to win in every area of our life. Why? Because we are daughters of the King. We are. And we got Pastor Tammy back up here, but we were just talking about winning and how a lot of us sometimes go through life feeling like we taking a lot of losses. And when is this going to end? Is it ever going to get better? God, do you even love me? What is going on? Have you ever dealt with that or a season of that?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes we are found guilty of feeling super religious or like superheroes, as if we do not have to go through certain things. The Bible lets us know that these light afflictions are for but a moment, but there's a far greater glory. So the truth is, there are moments where I felt like, God, are you really serious? Or here recently, because I'm very transparent in most things, I said, why do I always have to go the hard way to get to what you want from me? So sometimes it feels like you're going the hard way to get to the place where you want. Can anything be easy? But one of the things that I've learned is that even when it's not easy, you appreciate more and you see how much strength that you've actually gained when you've made it through those hard places. So sometimes you start to get lost. Sometimes it feels like we're losing, and sometimes we have to lose some things in order to. Sometimes we gotta lose something. It feels like loss, but it's actually some things that are being taken because it's eventually a win that has to take place.
That's awesome that you said that, because it kind of guides me into my next question, which is, what started your ministry journey in the first place?
I have for years. I've been the background person. I enjoy being in the back, pushing and even when I got married, before I married my husband, I preached my first sermon from Longview, Texas, and I ministered my first sermon before I got married. I was actually engaged to him. I didn't even tell him that I was ministering, and I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, surely I'm not called this. Like, I am a child. I had a child out of wedlock, and I just feel like I was unworthy to be used. And
Right.
So when I got married, my focus was making sure he was good, and then I went through a season in my life where the pain felt like it should have been death. That's another feel like loss. And it's the pain that pushed me into my purpose. And from there, I just gave God my yes. I gave God my yes, didn't focus on me. The yes I gave to God focused on helping others not to feel what I felt. And so from that, birth ministry, and it birthed a reason to feel like I started going through deliverance. And from that, my passion for deliverance and ministry was birthed out of that process.
Wow. So you have been married 23 years?
It's 26 years in December. It was December 26 years.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that, because a lot of people can't say that. So what does that what does that look like? A lot of people see think they see the glamour or the honor or the appreciations and things like that. But what does that look like being a woman in ministry alongside your husband?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I am grateful for him because he allows me to go forth in ministry. Matter of fact, sometimes he push harder than I do. So what is that like? It's like not comparing myself to him because he has an oil that is authentically given to him by God, and the oil that I have flows maybe a little different, but together we hold each other up in ministry, without the comparison, he pushes me and I push him. So what does that look like? It looks like just doing the will of God, and fulfilling our individual purposes as individuals, and not allowing it to be a war. Because some people, there's jealousy that may come from all of this, or word confusion that may come from working together. But what I've learned is like he is a preacher. Like I'm a treacher. That's what I call it. And I used to, and this is, and honestly, I used to feel that I wasn't strong enough because I didn't sound like him. And it wasn't that I was jealous of him, but I was trying to be like him. Well, I'm not a hooper. Every once in a while I might give you a squall, but it's not like my oil it flows from him. But the oil that flows from us comes from God, and then it flows back to God.
Your squad called. They need this cafe swag. Grab the cafe swag for you and your bestie, because when your sister wins, you win. Grab the swag. Vibe everywhere. Big announcement. Black Girl Vitamins is now an official sponsor of the 2026 Sisters Cafe I Win Conference. Wellness meets winning, and we are here for it. Who inspires you? Who's your Woman Crush Wednesday? Nominate now. Let's celebrate the women who make us say, that's my WCW.
I'm glad you brought that point up, because I think we often, not in a jealousy way, but I think we often try to compare what we do, how we sound, and all of that from wherever. And I'm saying that because for a long time, so I was in Shreveport before I moved here. So my pastors are Bishop and Apostle Sasser are my pastors, and I call her my forever pastor, because she showed me that I could. Being raised in a place where we weren't allowed in the pulpit. If we were, it has to be evangelist this or lady this, but we weren't allowed to preach. It was taught against as bad. That's bad. You can't do that. And so when I got to their church, I was so very afraid when they said, okay, well, you got Sunday. Well, I got Sunday what? I can't do that. I got Sunday school. Yeah, I could teach Sunday school. I'm a teacher. But as they kind of got me, I'm watching her and I'm saying, God, but this must be okay, because I resonate with her more than I do with him. I feel like I need to be better. I feel like I want to be closer to you. That can't be bad. So I really didn't understand. And then I kept doing it more and more. And then I struggled with, I don't sound like her. She's a preacher. And she will holler and all that. I can't hold a note. I cannot. And, and we were raised in the days where we just made a joyful noise. So to me, when I was doing praise and worship back in the day, we were just making joyful noise, until my son began to learn keys and tempo and all that. And he would say, Mom, you're in the wrong key. Okay. And I stopped singing. I did. Only because that boy can sing. I'm gonna have to let you see. I'm gonna send you a video. But that boy, oh, he blesses everybody.
Okay.
But what do I tell, or what can you tell women who feel like they're called, but they're scared because they think it's wrong, or it's not their calling, or they don't sound like this one or that one?
Yeah. And I'll deal with the second one first.
Okay.
When John the Baptist was on the forefront, he knew at the beginning that there would be one that was greater than me. And sometimes he didn't compare himself to Jesus, but he understood his role in the part of Jesus getting here, right? He didn't try to be like John the Baptist. Jesus came, didn't try to be, Jesus didn't try to be like John the Baptist, and John the Baptist didn't be like Jesus. We have to understand the role. We have to understand the assignment that God has given us. And my assignment may not be, because Jesus won thousands, millions upon millions. We're still rolling today. And not one time did I hear that he had poop to do that. He taught and he discipled. And when we understand that the role and the assignment and the oil that God has on our lives, it is unique. It is unique. And like you said, it took me some time to really grasp. We can stop. He'll tell me to stop right now and flow in how I want you to. And at one point, I just felt like, well, God, I got to finish this. But when his voice is loud with applause, Jesus, because sometimes I feel that we're looking at the people, and because their applauses are not loud, then that means that we are not being effective in the kingdom. Right. But when we go for the people's applause, who Jesus never did, those were the same people who said, crucify him, crucify him. But I'm not looking for the applause of people. I'm looking at, God, am I pleasing you on the assignment that you have placed me here for today? Who have you sent me for? If that comes from me whispering in their ear, praying with them afterwards, who am I sent here for? What is my assignment today? And if it's me teaching, if it's me hooping, if it's me singing, sign language, praise, dancing, however he wants me to fulfill that assignment, then it's our surrender is a surrender to God to be pleased with us, not for us to have a place among the people where they're applauding us, because to get applause for them today is our reward today. You understand? But our reward actually comes from God. So all that to say, however he uses you, he uses you. And then he gives us gifts and he gives us talents. And for those that say that I can't do this because, and I think a lot of us is that we get guilty of like, Lord, I'm not, like I told you, I had a baby out of wedlock. I'm like, God, I'm not worthy to be used by nobody. I've been used. You understand? But so here I am. And he began to deal with me greatly about the gifts that he gives us. And there's scripture that text in the Bible that talks about the man, the man that had the land, and he gave gifts and talents before he left. And one used the excuse that I multiplied mine. And then the last one said, I buried mine. He had one. And he said, I buried my one gift because I was afraid that. Okay. Sometimes you allow fear to cause us to bury what God is trusting us to multiply. Jesus. And so in our burying that, like the man did, he said, I took the one and I buried it because I wasn't for sure there was an amount of fear that came because he didn't know about this uncertainties. He didn't know about what tomorrow would look like. And the Bible says that I cast you not into darkness, but to utter darkness because of your refusal and because of the fear that you've given with to use what I have trusted you with. So my question to the women would be, why are you afraid of what he has trusted you with? What if Mary would have been afraid to birth Jesus? Right. What if she would have been afraid of that assignment? What if she would have been so afraid of the people around her? What they would say, because I'm with a man and this ain't his child, but I have an assignment. Jesus. I have an assignment and I have an outlook of how people look at me, how people are people are perceiving me. I have an assignment and perception. Jesus. So the question is, do we hold ourselves accountable to the assignment from God, or do we hold ourselves bound to the opinion of people's perspective? We can really get out right now.
I was gonna
Because
say
that right there is what we have been given.
we live in a time where validation is so desired. We need people. If people don't like our posts, we think it don't mean nothing. If people don't agree, like you said, if we don't get a whole bunch of hand claps, we think we didn't do anything. And we have to get to a point where God is the only person that matters. Period. Because ain't nobody else died on the cross for my sins. None. Not even my, I don't even know if my mama would. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that my mama would go to the cross for me, but God did. Jesus said God gave his only begotten son. Why? He loved us. Who else loves you that much? Nobody. So the fact that we're needing validation from people who won't cross the desert for us, who won't cross the street for us, there's something wrong with that. But I'm sure, think about all the Bible accounts. I'm sure everybody thought Noah was crazy, but he kept doing what God told him to do, which saved his family. Because he could have been like, yeah, no, that's crazy. It ain't never rained. I'm not doing that. Because sometimes we do hear things and we be like, I'm not doing that. That's we have to be, God has to be first. Period.
Absolutely. And we have to leave ourselves excuseless, you know. And there are a lot of things that you know, as human, we feel that affirmation is good. But the affirmation from people, I mean, it you know, if you do, you do, if you don't. But if we rely solely upon the affirmation of people, that's when hurt comes, because some people will never tell you. That's when you feel like you should be doing this because of what people say. But there are opportunities that God gives us, like your platform, Sisters Cafe. The thing that really needs to be done is discipline and faithfulness. If you discipline faithful to God, that's all that matters. Because you may not be called to millions, but I bet you, if you just decided not to do what he told you to do with Sisters Cafe, how many people would not have been free from some kind? I don't care if it's one or two, sis. You're doing what God told you to do, and you don't have to wait on a podium for that. You just obey, because now we have learned since COVID that social media is one of the greatest streams that you can flow through for kingdom assignments.
Right.
But again, it takes discipline and it takes faithfulness.
It does. And
it takes discipline and faithfulness.
And not needing the validation. When you said about people not getting what they need, had I not started Sisters Cafe, and it just kind of takes me back to how it started in the first place. And that was to fill a gap between the youth department and the missionary department. It was like, as soon as you got out of being a youth, you were missionary. And what about us in between? Like, I'm not ready to be the missionary. Right now, I'm dealing with raising these kids. And, you know, I need somebody to help me with why I love this kid and this one get on my nerve, but this one won't listen no matter what I do to him. You know, I need to have somebody I can say, what is wrong with me? You know, and that they tell me exactly an answer without condemning me to hell. I went through a season of, I wasn't sure why. I got divorced. I got married when I was 8. The first time I got married when I was 18. I got divorced when I was 21. And after that, I didn't really understand how to continue in having had been married, and now I'm not married. So I went through a season of just wanting somebody there. And I really felt like there was something wrong with me, why I couldn't control the urge to want somebody there with me, until somebody, a lady, decided to help and said, because you're a woman, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your relationship with God. He made you that way. You just have to have self-control and self-discipline
That part.
versus the other people telling me I need to pray more because there's something wrong with me. So that's why Sisters Cafe was birthed. It is just if there's one or two people,
I love
because
it.
the goal is to free them. We are so
Absolutely.
oppressed sometimes. Growing up, we can't say this, we can't do this, we can't talk this, we can't feel this, we can't ask this. And it's like, no, I got to a point I was so silent. I was so silent and I was dying inside. I wouldn't say, the pastor's kid can't say that. I can't think that. I got to be at church regardless of what I feel, and it just got to the point where it felt like it was killing me inside. And then somewhere after 40, I started to speak up. And I felt so free. And I thought, I need to help other people get free. You can ask the question. There's nothing wrong with that. God don't mind questions. And get somebody in your circle. The 4th chapter of my book is called Check Your Squad. And I talk about the people you have. You have to be careful who everybody is not your friend. Everybody ain't rooting for you. But it's important to have people around you like they did. The man, was that Axe or Mark? But the man who had the 4 friends that took him up on the roof and dropped him down so that he could get to Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Those friends I need.
Right.
Do whatever they got to do to get me to Jesus.
Absolutely.
And I talk about that because we keep a lot of people around us that might be stunting our growth, blocking our blessings, all kinds of stuff, just because we want them around. So Sisters Cafe was built for this. We gonna be free. We gotta be free. And there's a level of worship and freedom that I didn't understand till way later. Like, it's some days I'll be in church and I'll be feeling like I should just run. I'm gonna do it one day. But that's how I feel, like, run. And I haven't done it. Why? Because I'm conservative. And these hills, I don't know. I might fall. But that's the freedom.
Kick them off, sis. It's all good.
Right. That's the freedom I wish for all my sisters. All my sisters. Don't be bogged down. Jesus gave us freedom. There is liberty where the Spirit of the Lord is. That is where we need to stay. It's a beautiful thing. Peace and freedom. I'm loving it. I'm loving this stage in my life. How did your journey into coaching begin?
The same thing. So I think my ministry, I started preaching every once in a while, but I started Motivated to Motivate, which is coaching / speaking. I started around the same time I told you earlier about the pain. And it started out just me writing different first ladies throughout the world. I might have sent a few to Australia, and I just created a postcard just encouraging different first ladies. It was something I did silently, I went to bed distraught, hurt, and got up the next morning. The Lord said, "This is what I want you to do." So I began doing that. And then from there, I just had an urge and a desire to see people better. And so this started probably in 2017. And I was coaching for free. Like I've been doing it all my life. I didn't realize it. So here recently, I just finished a master's program in counseling. So I will be finishing up in May at the age of 53. Because when the Lord really shows you, when he showed me who I was, like at 40, because I started my Motivated to Motivate around 40. That's when I woke up. It's like I laid down, and around the age of 40, it's like, okay, here's your freedom from whatever was has bound you. That like for years, just bound. So at that moment, it's like you couldn't tell me nothing. I was full-fledged. Like I have no time to waste. No time to waste, because once you get a vision of who God shows you, and like for years it felt like I just didn't know. Like I did not know this, and I wanted to know, and when I finally understood, Jesus, my Lord. When you talked about liberating, I wanted to stand up, but I didn't want to knock over this green light because there is nothing like the freedom. Finally, finally figuring out who God created you to be all alone.
Wow.
It wasn't new to him, but for some reason it was hidden from me. For some reason I didn't see it. And when he finally showed me that my life mission to this day is to help people uncover who they are, understand their purpose, and never feel alone like I felt during that time.
Wow.
No one should ever feel alone and like they can't talk to someone, like they're too ashamed of whatever they've gone through. Nah. You can bring it, whatever it is, I'll take it to the Lord. But I started coaching in 2017. And like I was doing that for free. Notice the word was, praise God. Was. Yeah, I have a love for it. Love.
Which brings me into the next question. What does it mean? And I guess you kind of already explained it, what it means to be a midwife to someone else's purpose.
Absolutely. Miles Monroe said it like this, and I want to make sure I say it right. The worst thing in life is not life itself, it's not death, but it's living and not knowing your purpose. And that's where you just said, I did already say it, but I wanted to use that quote to show that when people are, they just need to know our identity. I was talking to someone today, and I taught Bible study on Tuesday. When you don't know who you are, that's the playground for the enemy. Because then, and I'll give you an example I did in Bible study the other day. When Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, God came, his voice came from heaven and says, this is my son in whom I am well pleased. Right? He said, this is my beloved son. So then he gets baptized, and then Jesus goes to the mountain because now his ministry is about to begin. But before he goes into ministry, he goes to die to himself. So he goes to the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, begins fasting and praying. And when Satan came to him, he came and said, if thou be the Son of God. So God had already identified, this is my beloved son. And then Satan comes to say, and again, we're dealing with identity. If you be the Son of God. God had already affirmed Jesus. So now Satan comes to attack the identity. And he attacks the identity before he brings the temptation. He wants to see first who you know you are. And if you don't know, he will give you who you think, who he wants you to become. And we take on what Satan has said, and we've already been affirmed by God.
Right.
And after that, he was tempted by the devil. But first, the enemy attacked his identity. And when our identity is attacked, I didn't know who I was a long time. So I became who others needed me to be, or what I thought I needed from others. Fill in the blank, whatever. It wasn't all pretty. I'm just gonna be honest. And so I became someone. I became an imposter. Jesus. I became an imposter because I was walking in who everybody else needed me to be. And when I say that, that's a dangerous place, not to understand your identity and your purpose. It's a dangerous place because when you don't know, the enemy will paint a picture and make it look beautiful when that is not the canvas that that God had for you. And we don't know the original plan of God. So it's important that when I'm coaching, I'm not leading them to me. No. I need you to dig deep. Let's go. I'm going to send you into your prayer place. Let's go. And anybody listen, I said, for the next 7 days before we get started, I need you to meet God at the same place at the same time. And then come back and let's talk about it. Wow. Because there's no way you can meet him and not want to spend more time with him. And there's no way that you can spend time with him and you not become more like him. And there's no way that you can become more like him and you not eventually know who you are.
Stop waiting. This is your season. The iWin Conference is calling your name. Step into the room that changes everything. Register now before seats are gone.
In just 2 days, women are coming to win. Make sure you're in the room.
I'm listening to what you're saying. It's like you would think you and I have had a conversation before, but that is the premise of the whole book. So the book is called The Best Version of Me. And that is exactly what it's saying is when I've spent the last 40 something years being every single thing to everybody else. And I said, that's a form of schizophrenia because I'm this for the pastors. I'm this for my mama. I'm this for my boss. I'm this for my children. I'm whatever. I just morph. I call it shape shifting. I just shape and morph into whatever they need me to be at the expense of myself. You know, I'm the one going home crying by myself. I'm the one who don't understand. I'm the one not even doing what I need for me. And it just, I don't know what it is about the 40s, but somewhere along the line, all that shook off. Like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I think what hurt me the most, and I'm gonna say it that way because I'm being honest, being a people pleaser and being what they all need, and then they turn around and talk about you. That bothered me so much. I'm like, how do I give of myself to you? And then you turn around and talk to me, talk about me when I'm no longer doing that. And at the end of the day, as I tell everybody, you are the only person that is guaranteed to be with yourself to the day you die. So find a way to make yourself smile. Find a way to make yourself happy. Find a way to make peace with yourself. Because I can't even guarantee all my children going to be there when I close my eyes. Nobody is guaranteed but me. You know, so even though that I would do anything for my children, I'm at the age now where sometimes I be like, wait, hold on. Let me think about that. You know, because I give of myself to them even now. And then when I need or I'm worn out, they looking at me crazy, like, what's wrong with you? I'm tired. You know? So I've learned to embrace peace, and I've learned to keep me with a smile on my face. I can't even make it up to my husband. It's not his job to make me happy. No, I make myself, I'm going to be smiling. I'll be around this house. I'll be sitting there watching TV, smiling to myself. And he'd be like, what you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just happy. Because I am. It's such a joy. I've learned to love me. That was not something I was doing way before. And to your testimony, I was the pastor's kid with a kid out of wedlock. The one that had to stand up in front of the church, apologize to everybody, even though I didn't even live there. Like, I was gone. I joined the military when I was 17. My mama signed me in. I got pregnant while I was stationed in Hawaii. I got pregnant. When I came home to visit, I had to stand up in front of the church. Grandpa made me stand up. He was like, you are one of the oldest girls in the church. You have to let the other ones know this is not the way to go. And I'm like, I don't live here though. Like, but I did it because I'm obedient. But it was so harmful. And it was like I was bearing the letter for so long. And I didn't feel worthy of God, of anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And since we're women and this is things that we talk about, and and for any young woman that listens to this, maybe this may help them because they don't do it like that now. Because I was called forth too. Like I had just told my pastor, and we were at a conference and visitors were there, and he called me forth. I thought he'd call me up to pray, and he wanted to tell the people, which I just told him Thursday and that Saturday I was called forth, and he's like, she's pregnant and da-da-da-da. It just went They didn't have viral back then, but it went viral. Okay, because I heard the things that people would say, like, the one, because I used to love bringing my young people to church, friends. Like, I didn't have a boyfriend that didn't come to church. You come to church. So I would work at the altar as a young person because I always loved God, like literally. And so when I got pregnant, I felt like I had disappointed the people, and like God could never forgive me. And that's because we were raised under the religious rules that is the rules that even they talk about in the New Testament, that these, I can't keep these, like, but my relationship with God really didn't start until I became an adult.
Right.
Like, when I say adult, I mean marriage, because I was so bound by the restriction of religion. Religion is one of the strongest spirit strongholds in our lives. And so I felt like I wore the scarlet letter. So when you said that, I was just like, Lord, she sound like me. I felt like, I was like, my husband came, like, you want this? Because I am war, I felt like I was no good. Nobody's gonna want me. And so at the moment I told God, I said, I'm just gonna be the best mother to my son, and I'm just gonna serve you with all my heart. And this is the point, I've just like all the little in-betweens that I might have had going on, I was just like, God, I surrender to you. At the moment that my husband came, and when he came, I was like, to be the best mother. And matter of fact, you probably see me, but you don't know that I have a son. And so I'm like, you don't want me because I got a child, and I'm a daddy. So no. So I wore that for years. It was only until, glory to God, that he helped me to forgive myself. Yeah. It wasn't so much of what the other people had done, what the other people had said. Yeah, that's way for a moment. But I allowed a thought of me to become me. And I could not forgive myself. So even if they took, or they could no longer see the scarlet letter, I never removed the shirt. I kept it on. And so at some point when I said, God, you know what? I'm sick of myself. And I went through the process of really forgiving Tammy. Yes. Nobody else could do that. Nobody else's words could undo. I had to go in and uproot the evil that was spoken of God upon me. I had to go in, and with God's help, to show me. And even after I got, because I'm going back to the religious part now. I went and because after I got pregnant, after I stood up before the people, and I had to sit down for however many months until I had the baby. I became, what does that mean? There is not a young person that can come to me. I'm not going to promote premarital sex. I'm not going to do it. But if you're going through it, let me show you how to walk this thing out. Let me just be real with you. Let me just tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So.
And that's important. I like that you said they can still come to you. I like that you're not. I think growing up, we had people who forgot they weren't born saved, and they deal with us from that place versus a place of, oh yeah, I dealt with that as well. And that's why Sisters Cafe came about. Yes, there's been a whole lot of things. Good. It got so bad when I got 17, and I remember this was before I went into the military, but I knew I was going. I went out of the church doors. I remember closing the door, and I stood on the porch of my family's church, and I looked up and I said, I will never come back to church, ever. It was so, and I think about that often, because that's why I in turn start dealing with youth more, is because we got to pause that. We got to prevent that somehow, of them getting of age and then leaving. I meant it because people are not nice. The people of the church are not always nice. And I was just tired. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not with the politics of church now. Look, I came to see Jesus. I came to worship. I came to lift my hands. I came to pray. I didn't come for all the foolishness. I don't like it. I don't. I mean, it's a hospital. Anybody should be able to walk in here. Anybody should be able to be embraced and loved on, and somebody to say, "We are so glad you're here." You know, here's a seat right next to me. Or have a seat. Here's my seat. You know what I mean? And we don't treat people like that. And I just
and the generation is looking for people to be genuine. They're looking for the genuine love of God. And sometimes the only God that they will see will be us. And he never, like, he went and sat with the sinners. I'm not telling you to go to no crack house if you know you struggle with crack, but I'm just saying that he will go to the lowest person and he will love on genuinely. They, you know, one of the things that my grandma, we call her Big Mama, she was, when I was like ashamed, and my sister did the same thing, and she just like, and I know one of the mothers had said some words to me during that time of pregnancy. And my grandma said, my Big Mama said, she said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, my Big Mama." I said, I don't really want to go. She said, "No, you're going to come back in here and you're going to hold your head up. And because she tell you is that she got 5 kids, 3 of them are 3 different men." So she you know, I'm like, oh. So I was being condemned for someone who had gone through the same thing. But we are looking for someone that is genuine. And if you can hold my hand, you speak it to me, because right now I feel like I'm the cut bleeding. And if you cut me, can you at least hold me back up? So that's one of my things. One of my things is, if I cut you, if I'm going to come to you in love. I would have some people even at church when I first started, some of the young people would come, and the older mothers who would, you know, they know it. We need the wisdom, but there's some platforms that our nation is good. But if you're going to come at me, at least learn my name. At least know my first name. You see my skirt, and then ask me my size if you want to help me. Cut me and not sew me back up. Because that leaves a disdain. My son said the other day, it's so many fake people. He said, it's just too many fake. And this generation is looking for authenticity. And if they can't have it, they're not trying to be around us.
And they can see straight through it.
And the Bible says, with love and kindness have I drawn you. Absolutely. He draws with that. So who are we?
So I'm actually going to have to let you go in 6 minutes. So I got to get to the questions. I got a couple questions that people sent in.
Okay.
You. The first one says,
okay,
how do I know when God is stretching me into something new?
How do I know God is stretching me into something new?
Yes.
When sometimes he makes your area of comfort uncomfortable. I think some of us are attracted to familiarity. Mm-hmm. We are attracted to comfort. Mm-hmm. But then when we say stretch, to stretch is to remove from one posture, position to another. And when I think about a stretch, it makes you uncomfortable so you can get to the next. I think about exercise. I tell you need to stretch before you lift the heavy weight. You need to stretch before you run. So it's like it's stretching you, prepares you for what is to come.
I like that.
You don't feel comfortable into where you are. Sometimes the stretch will be him not allowing you to sleep. That thing stays on your mind, on your heart 24/7. Some of us, God shows us clearly in vision. He speaks to us audibly. We can hear. You can hear all the prophetic words that you need. You read that word until you what God is saying will never move. And sometimes we'll say, when God is moving us, is stretching us into something new, that means the old is uncomfortable. And although it's familiar, you have to appreciate, and you have to open your mouth and say, this familiar place is no longer for me. and be ready to say, forgetting those things which are behind, I press. Somebody said at the beginning of the year, you have to let go of what was in order to grab on to what is. But there has to be a willingness to let go and a willingness to grab on.
Absolutely. Okay, next question is, what do I do when fear feels louder than faith?
What do I do when fear feels louder than faith? I talk about fear often, and fear does two things. It either causes what we face, fight or flight. It causes you to be paralyzed, or it causes you to pursue. At your mindset, whatever your mindset, because the Bible says that God did not give us the spirit of fear. He never said we're gonna come. It will come, but either I'm going to allow my faith to be louder than my fear. And what happens? How do I stop that from being the case? You have to feed your faith. He takes us from glory to glory, from faith to faith, from glory to glory. There's levels of our faith, but it's us that have to build our faith. We have to continue to build in the Word of God and our prayer life. And I often talk about spending time with God, you all, because that has been my that thing has saved my life. Just spending time with God. But in order for you, your fear will come. I'll just say that. You cannot stop it from coming. You have to decide. Again, it's our mindset. Whatever you believe is how you act. Whatever you believe, whatever you think is what you believe. And what you believe is how you act. So if you think, okay, I have to do this, with fear being present, because you have to fight through fear, and or through fear being right by your side, sitting on your lap, holding you by the neck. You still have to move, because your faith eventually kicks in and it causes fear. It's almost like demons, and it got coming in and pushing it all back. Keep moving in your faith, building your faith, and fear, it's going to be present, but it has to watch you win. Your fear will have to watch you win when you have a mindset that I'm not going to stay here. I know we have to go. So that's a whole nother coffee conversation.
Right. Last one question says, how can I support other women without comparison?
Ooh. How can I support other women without comparison? And as women, that is a natural thing for us to do, whether it's the way they look, our shape, or whatever. That's something. If it's your comparison, if you're trying to help them, then you have to get out of scenario. Focus on them. And not on you. So I'm almost wondering where's the comparison coming from? Are you comparing yourself against them as you help? I'm not for sure if that's what we're meaning. But if that's the case, let them be your focus. If you're gonna help. That's almost like someone is in a fire and you're going in the fire, and you should have a mask on. And if you go in the fire, that you don't give them a mask. You have it, but you don't give it to them. You just go and get them, but they're still taking in all this smoke and could possibly die because of what they're ingesting. So you're there to help, but you're also harming, because what you have in your hand, you're not actually giving to them. Because I don't know, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So I hope that made just a little sense. But if we're going to help, you go in with your eyes focused on them and not on yourselves.
All right, so we are getting close to our close. So if you could let everybody know, how can the community stay in contact with you or follow you?
Oh, okay. Well, you can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook under Tammy Stewart. I think on the Instagram is Tammy Stewart Motivated to Motivate, or M2M, the M number 2M. Or you can meet me on my website at www.motivate2motivate.org. Oh, and our church is also located in Houston, Texas. We're at Greater Emmanuel Family Worship Center at 3915 Kelly Street, where my husband pastors, Bishop Titus B. Stewart.
I so appreciate your
Okay.
time. I really, really do. And I thank you for being.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Oh, we're gonna have to do it again because I see the technologies was trying to.
Oh, absolutely.
Today.
Or I'll just come where you are and we can drink coffee for real. So let me know.
Exactly. We'll see you again next time for another segment of Sisters Cafe.
I'll come through to pray for encouraging us.